Are you currently in that situation where you're really struggling in prioritizing your tasks, trying to figure out which is the most important, which should I do first? They're just never ending tasks back to back, and you're just having a hard time managing your time in general. You're feeling like you're caught up between competing priorities, between your own tasks that you need to get done, but there is your team that you supervise, and you want to make sure that they're also on top of things and things are getting done, and you're finding that you're spending so much overtime hours, you're taking work home, you're feeling stressed and burned out, and you're not sleeping well. Other aspects of your life are generally just suffering as a result of work. If that is your case, this video is for you. Welcome to another episode on the Growth Leadership Cafe. My name is Adesoa, your lovely host. And if this is your first time coming across my YouTube channel, you're very welcome. It means that you're in search for tips and tricks on how to build your capacity as a leader. So on this channel, I talk about all things personal and organizational leadership. And that is for people who are new to management or some form of supervisory role, and you're trying to navigate this world of leadership and management and how you situate yourself between all of that. For my avid subscribers, thank you so much for sticking with me. And if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Do so that you get a notification every time I post a video, which is every week Tuesday, 8 o'clock Central Time. So speaking about the topic for today, I am speaking about prioritization and just time management as a leader, and what that looks like. So right now you're currently feeling a lot of burnout, especially in the pandemic situation where we're mostly home right now for those who are able to work from home, and it's very difficult to separate work from home because everything is kind of just now integrated, and you're having a hard time setting boundaries for yourself. But also aside from that is you're feeling like, yes, you have this new responsibility as a leader and you want to perform, you want to make sure that you're on top of your tasks, and there's so many tasks that are coming to you back to back. You have to be on top of your own, but there's a team of people that you lead and you supervise, and you want to make sure that they are also on top of their tasks. And how do you manage all that? You're just one person. How do you do all of that without it impacting your life or other aspects of your life in some shape or form? Now, let me say this first of all. I know that we are all striving for balance, but balance in itself in life, it's unachievable, because we would have to trade one thing or the other. One thing would have to take a backseat for a moment for us to focus on something else. You never just get to that point in your life where you're like, ooh, my life is balanced, everything great at work, everything great at home, my social life is popping, all of that things are great, so like it's really difficult to find that balance. But it's important that we set that as a goal for ourselves and like constantly striving for that. But again, it's being kind to yourself, knowing that you're not always going to get it right. You are going to have slips here every now and then, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world, okay? So however, when it comes to prioritization, how do you really go about this? Because, if you know that you're currently in that spot where, you're just feeling like, oh, I want to perform, I want to get things done, and even when everyone's heading home at the end of the day, you're staying back. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna, put in 1 more hour, 2 more hours. I just need to finish this here and there, yada, yada, yada. Or you're like, okay, I'm taking it home. I'll finish it at home. On your way home, whether you're taking a bus, you're typing, you're doing something on your phone. When you get home, you have your laptop. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I'm that person where I feel like once I open my eyeballs in the morning, my brain is in overdrive, and it goes on like that for the whole day. But I have been able to find a system that works for me to help me manage all of these aspects of myself. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. Okay, and so for me, I'm a very busy person, and I'm not just saying that to be, ooh, I'm a very busy person, but I don't know how to be idle. Okay, so aside from work, I have other interests. So I volunteer, I have a business I'm running. I have this YouTube channel that is a full-time job in itself, but I love doing it. And so those other things keep me busy and keep me grounded. And so for me, like, I'm always thinking about different things, and it's not just about work. But there was a time in my life where I felt like my life revolved around work, right? And so everything else was suffering as a result of me trying to focus on work. Even before I got into some form of supervisory role, I felt like, I wanted to do my job, I wanted to perform, I wanted to be hardworking, and I wanted my work to speak for me, all of that. And I got that. I got it, and I'm very appreciative of how far I have come, but I also know the toll that it took on me and how some things I could have avoided, So that's why I'm coming with the gospel truth for you today, okay? So when it comes to prioritization, first of all, think about find a system that helps you track all of the things that you're doing. And when I say track all of the things that you're doing, I'm not just talking about work, because that's how we start to lose sight of all other aspects of ourselves, all the other things that keep us, going and keep us activated and interested and engrossed in life and what's going on in our environment. What are those things that fill you up, that you're not going to start trading all of that for the sake of your work and trying to please people and perform and make someone happy, all of that stuff? Okay, so find a system. So for me, I'm a very techie person, but I also like the old-fashioned notepad. Okay, so I like to always put my thoughts down, whether it's on a computer, if I have a notepad beside me. That's just my own way. Like, I like to be productive, and I want to know that I'm very strategic in the things that I'm doing all throughout my day. Not in a very mechanic way where I'm like, ooh, I need to do this between 2 and 4, and if I don't do it between 2 and 4, all hell is gonna let loose. No. Okay, so what I personally do is, first of all, your task list, whether that's a notepad or you use and some form of digital thing, whether on your cell phone or on your computer, is on that your priority list or your to-do list. For me, I personally do a week's to-do list, because I find that I used to do the daily to-do list, but I find that I cram so much into it and I overstretch myself, and I'm just exhausted at the end of the day because I'm trying to do everything that's on my list. So I spread it out, okay? So if I don't do it today, I can do it tomorrow, okay? But I know that I'm still putting myself within a boundary that within this week, and I'm not trying to throw everything. And with time, I've tried to find a system where I'm thinking very futuristically. I'm thinking, I'm not just thinking about what's I'm doing tomorrow. I'm thinking about what's happening this month, what's happening in the next 3 months. Do I need to start planning now so I'm not stressing out 1 month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks or 2 days to when that thing needs to happen? Okay, so I'm already thinking in that mindset. So like I set little short, small milestones for myself as a build up to that. Okay, so for you, on your list, first of all, because I like that holistic planning, not just in a way that you're just so absorbed into work. Is okay, yes, work things are important, okay? They're paying your bills. It's something you're probably passionate about, right? So it's important. So have that on your list, but you know what you want on that list as well? Do other things that you like doing, the other things that you need to get done, like your laundry that's sitting in your room that needs to get done, or your grocery list, or calling a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, or just keep in touch with your friends so that you're not completely disconnected, especially now in a pandemic situation where we're so disconnected from the whole world. It's how do you find some sense of connectedness or synergy with the things around you? Okay, so I want that on your list as well, because when you have that in one eye shot, like at first glance you can see these are the things that I need to get done this week. It includes the things for work, or it includes the things that I need to go see my boyfriend, I need to call my pastor, I need to use your benefits, man. And Lord knows I'm speaking to myself with that one, because I barely use my benefits, okay? I'm just paying for things that I'm not actually using, okay? So if you need to go get that massage in, you need, plan those things in, because at the end of the day, your future self will be very grateful to you that you did that and you kind of did not just trade that off. Okay, so when it comes to work stuff, all right, you have all these competing priorities. When it comes to your team, first of all, I want you to get comfortable asking for help. All right, it's not a shame that, okay, and sometimes it's not because you're incapable of doing it, it's just within the amount of time or the timeline that this needs to get done. Like, do you need help? Do you feel like this is something that you need somebody extra hands on? All right, so you're in that position to, whether it's your team, ask them for help, like, hey guys, I have X, Y, and Z on my list, can someone help me out with this? Or if you know there's someone that's really great at something, for example, I know how to use Excel, but do I like to use it? Not so much. Okay, but I know there's someone on my team who is super great at it. She kind of just does it in a breeze, and it's like, here you go, this one. I'm like, how did you do that in that amount of time? But so can I do it by myself? Absolutely. Heck yeah, I can do it. But I know the other things that are on my plate, and trying to figure out Excel, it's not the biggest priority thing on my list. So first of all, I would delegate that out. Okay, so please ask for help. And you don't even necessarily need to be in a supervisor position to just, it's not a way to kind of just pass on work to people, but you're also in a position where you need to figure out what is something that absolutely needs your attention and what can go to someone else. In my business, I know what my strength is. I know what my weakness is as well. And those things I contracted out. Fiverr is there. There's so many platforms you can use. So like, send it out, and just make that someone else's responsibility. That's something that they're great at. They welcome, the contract or that kind of work. So like, give it to them. All right. And if you have upper management and you're trying to figure out like what's on my list and how can I really prioritize this, go to that person and say, hey, I just want to pick your brains on this. I know you wanted me to get X, Y, and Z done. On a scale of 1 to 10, which of these things on this list would you say, Adesua, I need this done like yesterday? Okay. They can also help you figure out what's the most important. And when you're thinking about the priorities as well, in addition to asking whoever has delegated that to you, is trying to, brainstorm with them and figuring out what's the most urgent, is figuring out what's the extensiveness of the work that is going to come along with this. For example, filming this week is a priority for me because my vlog needs to be filmed, it needs to be edited, it needs to be scheduled and ready to go live next week, Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time. All right. But I know that I have this week to get it done. All right. I don't like to do things to the very last minute. So usually I like to set it up that Tuesday, Wednesday, I want to film. So I have either Thursday or Friday edited and schedule it. And it's ready to go. I'm not trying to figure out, Monday night or, this has to go live by Tuesday. So it's just those things where I know that, okay, I know I have this week to do it. So like, yes, it's a priority, but it's not urgent. And when I'm thinking about, yes, there's editing, there's a bit of work with it, but I make sure that, well, the things that I talk about is also things that I have a lived experience of. So like, I don't necessarily have to like do a ton of planning to get it out of my head, and over to you. Okay. I have a key points that I wrote down on my notes. So I know like, okay, these 4 things are the things that I want to highlight in this video, but I'm not stopping and writing a whole script and, rehearsing it in my head. So like, when you think about the things that need to get done is the extensiveness of the work, the urgency of that task. Just because something is urgent doesn't mean it has to be the first thing you need to get done. You may be thinking that doesn't make sense. This one, let me explain. Okay. So for example, I know that I need to do something tomorrow. Okay. I know that depending on the volume of work that comes with getting that thing done it's not a lot. I can bang it out in 30 minutes. Yes, it's urgent. I don't have to wait till the millisecond when it's due, but like, do I have to stress about it Friday last week? No. Okay. But I know that I'm working within a reasonable amount of timeline for myself. Okay, so alongside talking to the people who are ahead of you or above you and figuring out what's the most urgent for you, thinking about the scope of work, is there something out of that volume of work that maybe you could also delegate to someone on your team? It's like, hey, can you just help me run these numbers? Yada, yada, yada. I need it for something else that I'm working on, right? And again, those things outside of work, make sure they're on your list and do it. All right. Find other interests. Don't allow your life revolve solely around work. All right. Funny enough, the people who tend to be in this overdrive sometimes, they're the ones who are high performers at work, right? Because you're going above and beyond, you're stretching yourself, thinning yourself out to make sure that you're delivering everything that is needed from you at work. But they don't see the other aspects of your life and how that aspect is suffering, where you're not cooking for yourself anymore, you're feeding yourself or eating right, you're sleeping really late because you're working way into the night, your house is messy, you don't call your friends, we're like, where have you been? You're like, I'm sorry, I'm so busy, yada yada yada. And yeah, your work people, they don't see that aspect of you, but it's going on, it's real for you, right? So first of all, if you have an email, one thing that I do is my cell phone, it doesn't have my work email on it. I don't want to be seeing that because it just increases your stress, and for those who deal with anxiety, it just even makes it worse. Okay, so like limit that. Let work be on work related devices. All right, and I've also learned that if I'm going to my friend's place, I leave my stuff. There was a time in my life where I'm going to my friend's place, I take my laptop, I take even my laptop stand, and just make sure that I'm properly set up for my work. And so I'm taking all of that with me. I'm just dragging work all around with me, and it's just constantly stressing me out because I feel like, okay, I want to pay attention to you, but then I want to focus on this. And I'm like, because there's really nothing like multitasking, because you're really just focusing on one thing at that time. It's like, and you're bouncing off tasks, but you're not multitasking. You're not doing more than one thing at the same time. You still end up doing just one thing at that time, right? And then hop on to something else. Okay. So like I said, I've mentioned 2 things now. So talk to the people ahead of you, above you. What do they need from you right now? Okay. Do you feel like there's something on that list you can give to someone else to help you out with? All right. Have your to-do list, but on that to-do list, make sure it's not just work stuff that are there. I want you to have the other personal things that are in your life. If you volunteer and there's something that needs to get done, put that on that list. If you're taking a massage or using your benefits, because Lord knows, at this one, please start using your benefits. Put it on that list as well, because it would just help you live a more holistic life. And your future self, again, will be very grateful for doing that. And for your team, and even if you're feeling like, oh, I still have all this team of people, I need to figure out what they're doing, are they on top of tasks, put the onus on them to come to you as opposed to you chasing people. So the same way you're setting all of these boundaries and timelines for yourself, and maybe giving yourself enough notice in advance, give them those tasks and agree on a timeline that mutually works for both of you. Okay, but let them know that you would like them to come to you. All right, so when maybe you set up a test, like when this is done, please send me an email. If you have any questions, please come find me. You can reach me here, you can reach me there, yada yada yada. One point as I mentioned, that is setting boundaries with work. So if you know that your clock out time is 5 p.m., even when you're giving tasks, don't tell people, oh, call me anytime. You can say, call me anytime. I'm usually available between 9 o'clock and 5 p.m. Okay, so they know that anything after that, they will have to save it till tomorrow. If no one's dying, no one should be calling my phone. Okay, it can wait, because that's how you get sucked into that. Another thing, as a result of the pandemic, that I've realized that I really struggled with is when it comes to all of this tech and devices and everyone going remote, is, for example, I use WhatsApp for my personal stuff, talking to my family, my friends, and with work, there was Microsoft Teams, but there was also WhatsApp. And with everyone working different hours, it was really hard for me to kind of stop working, because even though I'm off the clock, I'm still, like, people who are on the clock are still communicating with each other, but I'm in those group chats, and I'm just like, yeah. And if you're seeing those things, even if you don't want to respond, and you're seeing something else, like, oh my god, like this fire is burning down a building, I need to interject right now, and that's how you get switched into it again. Okay, so just be mindful of that. if you have a way to maybe even have like a work phone. I know not everyone has that kind of access or privilege, or the ability to do that, but make sure that whatever devices or technologies you guys are using to communicate, have it on separate things, and turn off the notifications. So like, you don't even want to see a pop-up, you don't want to see a color notification, nothing of that. And even with my social media, and just not getting sucked into scrolling all day, is that I don't get a ding anytime someone likes my photo or does anything. I switch it all off. And so I know that when I'm going on social media, I'm really being very purposeful, like, okay, I just want to catch up on my social media, maybe dedicate a couple minutes to it, and I'm good, right? But I'm not also on, and for me, I post very frequently. I post like 5 times a week, so I'm constantly going to be in that rat race of trying to, oh, what does this person say, or who like my phone. Like, no, I don't even want to get hung up on the metrics or the analytics of that. So that's just another way that I manage all of these things, and just focus on the priority for the day, and I end up, maximizing my time. For me, I'm not a morning person, but I've learned now that, I like to start my day early so that I can kind of switch off later on, and just maybe watch something else, or catch up on social media, or talk to my friend. And even doing that aspect, I'm still a work in progress. Lord knows I don't call people, and I'm trying so hard, but the introvert in me just doesn't let me be sometimes. But I don't want to keep this video too long, but that's all I have to say on this matter. And if you feel like that you're in that spot right now, feel free to comment down below, share your thoughts with me. I'd like to learn from you as well. What are you doing to help you manage all of the things, the competing priorities that you have going on right now? What is it that you're doing? Like I said, I have a full-time job, I have a business that I'm running and trying to grow as well. So there's some things that I've just identified, like, this is my niche, this is what I'm good at. Yeah, this is something I can do, but do I absolutely need to be the one doing this? I've learned to just contract it out, okay? And like, let that be somebody else's problem to deal with. And maybe not problem, because to them it's something that they just do so easily, right? But that's not my forte, so I'm not going to deal with it and just make it exhaust me. And so, yeah, that's really all I wanted to say on this matter. If you're in this boat, feel free to share your thoughts with me, share your ideas with me. I'm always looking for ways to improve and just be more efficient with my time, because I'm a time person. I have a planner, I have a notepad, a physical notepad, I have task lists on my computer. So I just, like, it gives me, like, when I see all my tasks organized, like, it gives me a sense of peace in some shape or form. Some people, when they see a lot of tasks like that, they are automatically overwhelmed. But for me, that just helps me know, okay, today this is my focus, and if I don't get it done, that's okay. I will do it tomorrow, okay? And if for any reason you're feeling like you can't really meet a deadline, please communicate that. And I'll say do it as soon as you can. Don't wait till last minute when it's absolutely due for you to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to turn this in, because then, yeah, it just creates a ripple effect of stress on everybody else, because they're now looking for a last minute way to fill in the gaps where, you could have said something much sooner than waiting till later, okay? So thank you so much for listening. Reach out to me on social media, check me out on Instagram, and let me know that you appreciate the content here. So if you liked what I talked about today, give this video a like, share it with someone you feel like maybe might be dealing with this right now. Comment, subscribe, and yeah, thank you all. Have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.